What is your full name?
James S. Andrecheck.
When were you born?
19 September 27, 1921.
Where were you born?
I was born in Beery Bay, Ontario.
Where were you raised? Where were you raised?
Rated?
Raised as a
Oh,
child.
in Henderson, New York.
What was your pre-war education?
Education?
Yeah.
I went to high school in Hornsville, and I quit on my senior year.
What was your occupation?
Farmer, I was in the farm. My father's farm.
What do you remember about entering the service?
Well, I decided to leave the mess, so I quit school, and I joined October 6, 1939. I went to the Air Force. I went to Panama. I wanted to get out of the farm. It's the best thing ever done for me, though, because if I would have stayed on the farm and the war come out, I'd have probably got drafted in the Army, which I don't like to be a foot soldier. So I joined the Army Air Force.
Why did you choose the Air Force?
Because I wanted to fly, I guess.
When did you enter the service?
October 6, 1939. I went to Fort Slocum, New York.
How many of your siblings were in the service?
5.
Were you a pilot or were you a
I was
gunner?
a flight engineer, belly turret gunner. I was first flight engineer, belly gunner.
What was your basic training?
Well, we had training, just like regular training, flying all the time and practicing landings and all that kind of stuff. Nothing fancy, but we had to learn how to shoot. Yeah, just like that.
How was this experience for you? How was this experience for you, your basic training?
Experience, basic training? Well, I really didn't have much basic training, because I already had quite a lot of training before the war started. Because see, I went to a tech school at Rio Hatta, Panama, to mechanic school, so I became a flight engineer. So I didn't, when I come back to the United States, we formed the 459 bomb group, and we had training, different kind of training. We went to Florida for training, we went to Utah for training, then back to Davis Mountain Field in Tucson, Arizona. We kept training all the time.
Yeah. What do you remember most about basic training?
Well, not really much. Basic training was a breeze to me. I knew more than the pilot.
Because you had already gone through so much training beforehand? Because you had already gone through so much training beforehand?
I had a lot of training when I went to Panama.
While in the military, what was your assignment?
I was a flight engineer. And the number, what the number you had was 748 flight engineer. Our first flight engineer. And I was an instructor too.
What countries did you have to go to?
Well, I was in Italy, was stationed overseas. Giulia, Italy. That's where the base was.
Where was your theater of operation?
Italy, Giulia, Italy.
All right. How was life there?
It was all right. It was rough. When we got there, we got there and it raining like heck and everything, and we had no place to sleep. We had what we call a pup tent. You know what a pup tent is? Your head stick out one side and the feet stick out the other side. And it was wet, raining, So we landed in, I think like in February 1944 in Shernola, Italy. We drove the Germans out, then we could land. We was in Tunisia at the time. We had to stay there until the Germans left Shernola, Italy, then we went there.
What kind of planes were you in?
Like that, B-24.
B-24. What bombings did you take part in?
Oh, a whole bunch of bombs. Gee, I got the whole list home. But some of them were pretty rough. I went on Palesti, I think 3 times, the oil refinery. Steyr, Austria was a real bad one. We lost 65 4-engine bombers on that mission. And we was lucky to come home.
Why did you have to bomb so many times? Did you like?
Well, it was a quota. Like in England was 35 missions. We had 50 missions because we're short of crews. So we had to fly 50 missions. So after they got done 50 missions, you was go on home.
What kind of equipment did you use?
Well, we had our regular machine guns, that's all. They give you a 45 to carry, which I never used. It's no good anyway, as far as I'm concerned. and we had 10 50 caliber machine guns on that B-24. That's all the equipment we had up in the air.
What was it like using that equipment?
Oh, hell. Well, when the fighters come, you have to use it. You have to shoot somebody or they'll shoot you. So we used a lot of ammo. I was going to bring a 50 caliber bullet down, but I didn't dare bring it because it's still light. Show it to you.
Really?
Armor piercing go to 3 inches of steel just about.
How much time did you spend in the plane?
Well, it all depends. If a short mission be 4 hours, a long mission be between 8 or maybe a little more. That's coming and going. That's a long time.
How was combat similar to that of what you're trained for?
Well, I don't quite get that.
Was combat similar to your basic training, or was it different?
Yeah, you have to learn how to shoot. That's for one. You have to learn how to take the 50 caliber machine gun apart and put it together blindfolded. Take it apart blindfolded and put it back together blindfolded and make sure it works. Because a lot of the machine guns, these new gunners, they were field stripping and putting parts in backwards. And when they get up there, when they need them, they got nothing to shoot with. I could take the gun apart and put it together in a minute or so, blindfolded. They weigh 64 pounds, a 50 caliber machine gun, and they shoot 800 rounds a minute. So I had twin guns on my turret, so I could shoot 1,600 rounds out in 1 minute. We had a lot of ammunition on board, and we used it too. Sometimes we come home dry, no more ammunition left.
What would happen if you ran out of?
Well, you just ran out.
Yeah. What was it like being under fire for the first time?
Well, I tell you, we had no fear. I had no fear at all. You just went out there and done your job, but no fear. A German come onto my turret, I could see his face just like yours. I don't know whether I shot him or not, but I think he was dead. So boy, I tell you, it's pretty rough up there when you consider it's 50, 60 below zero. Yeah, and the waist gunners, they'd come back, they had the goggles on and stuff, and their face would be all black from puff from the ATCAG guns, like they was in a coal mine.
Did you ever see another U.S. plane get shot down?
Oh, I see a lot of them. First mission, I see one blow right up. Milk run. That's like, they call it milk run because it's easy mission, right? Now, this here, first mission, I see 24 get hit and blow right up. Didn't see no parachutes. Probably one. That's it. I see a lot of them blow up. One after the other.
What? Did this scare you, or
Huh?
did this scare you, or
No,
was it
it didn't
just?
scare me. No. I just scared. Last mission, I wanted to make it. That's it. On the last mission I went on was a milk run somewhere in Italy, and I was grounded. I'd come on home.
Was your unit a tight-knit group?
Oh yeah. Well, I tell you, we had 6 men in a tent and 4 officers in a tent. But you didn't know who lived in that tent next door because they didn't want you to make friends. Because maybe you went on a mission and that tent empty, right? So you don't know who they were, so you're not saying, my buddy got killed. No, there ain't no such a thing. You kept to your own self. You knew the operations officer and a doctor, a flight surgeon, and a cook, and maybe another guy or two. That's it. And your flight chief. You didn't know too many people. They didn't want you to know too many people. Because people, well, you see on TV every once in a while, like that Memphis Belle thing, you know. They don't want you to know nobody.
Were they trying to keep you like detached from other people's? Were they trying to like keep you detached from other people so you didn't get like?
Well, they didn't want us to, because like I say, if I knew that guy next tent real good and he got shot down, gee, my buddy got shot, so they didn't want you to know nobody.
How many missions did you participate in?
50.
Because that was your quota for. That was your quota.
Yeah, that's a quota.
You mentioned on the paper that you saw your brother in Italy.
Oh yeah, I met him, I was going to R&R, Isle of Capri, and I found out he was in the area. So it took me all day, and I found him, and we had a hell of a celebration. We got drunk. He was my younger brother. He was with Patton, Glenn Gus Patton. He went all the way from North Africa to Berlin.
How was it for you to see somebody that you
Oh
knew?
yeah, it was exciting.
How was your everyday life? Did you have a routine that you guys went through?
Well, you didn't have much to do. You might go downtown, there's nothing downtown. And, well, we flew most every day nearly, you know. Sometimes it was bad weather, we didn't fly, but we was pretty busy flying all the time. And you get up at 4:30 in the morning, you know, and go get briefing, and then you get on your airplane and take off. And you hope you took off.
Why was there?
Well, one takeoff, we blew on the main tires on the left side. We wasn't even had airspeed yet, and we was carrying 1,000-pound bombs that day, I think. We went right through the wheat field and stopped. And no one, whether before me or after us, took off. He blew a tire too, and he blew up, and before you knew it, the smoke was up about 10,000 feet in the air. I see that. Blew right up, because we was on a gravel runway, you know, and we're carrying an awful heavy load, and the stones go right through the tires.
Wow. What were your responsibilities during the war?
Well, like I said, I was a flight engineer. I was like second in command, more or less. When the pilot asked me, what's wrong with this engine, what's wrong with this or that, that's up to me to tell him what I can do to fix it in the flight. I didn't work on the ground, but it's just in the flight. That was my duty. And I flew in the Naval turret underneath the airplane. I liked that. That was my baby. I could see everything. I could go round and round and see everything, see the bombs fall, and hit the target. Yeah.
Okay, originally you were an upper turret gunner, but swapped.
No, upper turret was an assistant flight engineer. That was my station. But the he was a big guy, so I told him, you take my turret, I'm going to take, he's supposed to take the bow turret. So I took the bow turret because I was smaller. So he was about 6 feet tall, so he had the top turret.
Was the view good from the ball turret? Like,
Oh,
what'd you see?
I could see everything.
You see everything?
I see more B-24s and 17s blow up. Geez, Christopher, I tell you. But that's war. On one mission, I didn't know that, we lost 70 bombers on one mission. That's 10 guys on each airplane. Besides that, the Air Force lost more people than the Army and the Marine Corps put together. And that's a proven fact, I guess.
How did you keep in touch with those at home?
Well, I wrote once in a while, and my brother, while he was still there, but that's about it. Heck, I was gone for 4 years before I come home. Nearly. I went in 1939, I come home in January 43, first time.
How often did you get R&R?
Just that one time, we were supposed to go for a week. Well, when cut us off, we only had 3 days, because they're getting short on crews.
What was the food like?
Oh, the food! Well, at first off, we had what you call K rations. Come in a little box like a Cracker Jack box. You had breakfast, dinner, and lunch, or whatever. Some had ham in it, and this and that, and I forget what's all. But we had that for a long time before we could get any, good food. Take what you want. We even had hardtack, World War I to eat. Finally, we got some sea rations. I was already ready to go home when the sea rations come. Boy, that was something else.
What are sea rations?
Well, it comes in a can, all cooked up. The other stuff we had was K rations, everything dry.
What kind of supplies did you have?
Supplies we had? What do you mean?
Oh, like for sleeping and stuff like
Well, we
that?
slept in a tent. We had a 6-man tent. Each one had a cot, and you had to scrounge around for heat. We made our own stove so we could keep warm. We didn't have, in the toilet facilities, and down up the street there was a slip trench, that's all. No shower was across the mile about from our base, across the runway, and only got cold water, so nobody used to take a shower in your helmet, get washed on.
Were there any specific supplies you needed for the ball turrets, or was it just...
No, it's just ammunition.
What was your most memorable experience of the war?
I don't know. Well, for one thing, I met my brother, but we all come back, no Purple Hearts. All 5. We're all 5 in combat at the same time.
Why was seeing your brother your most memorable experience?
So I see my brother.
Yeah. Why was it your most memorable?
Well, and who else you gonna find out your brother way out there in Italy?
What people do you remember most from the service?
Well, my crew, mostly, my crew, and my CO, and maybe a couple more, but not too many. All my crews, I think, all but 4 of us are crew, I think. I don't know where 3 are, but I don't get no response from them. Most of them are dead. 6 of us is dead. And we're the only, I think, we're the only crew, besides there's another crew, what I heard, flew 50 missions together. And the whole group. So that's some, oh yeah, you put this in your archive. I'm waiting for my DFC, which was, should have got it in 1945, but I haven't gotten it yet. That's a Distinguished Flying Cross. Major Madam Air Force says 50 missions is only a couple missions. So denied my DFC. So I'm still working on it. That's a high honor. Maybe I even wrote to Icuri and I didn't get nothing from him.
Why do you remember them so well, or how do you remember them so well?
Because I got pretty good memory. I remember a lot of stuff. But I tell you, if I have to do it again, I'll do it.
Would you feel obligated to do it, or would you just do it out of...
I get the back in service, you know, if they wanted somebody, I go.
How did you feel about the war at the time that you were in the service?
Well, I tell you, if we didn't win the war, you know what would have happened? We'd have had the Japs here, or the Germans here, and we wouldn't have no freedom. We ain't got much freedom now anyhow, the way the government is running.
And why did you leave the service?
Leave it? Well, they told me I could go home, so I went. I had a lot of points. It was discharged on points then. I had, I don't know, a couple 100 points, and I was in Colorado, Peterson Field, Colorado, and some guy come running up to my barracks and says, Mr. Andrecheck, Sergeant Andrecheck, he says, orderly office wants to see you. So I went down there, they said, pack your bags, you're getting discharged. So I went to Fort Dix and got discharged. May 30th, 1945. But I never regret being in the service. And I'm regular Army. Air Force, Army Air Force, regular Army. I only got 7 digits of my serial number. 6977016. I remember that all right.
What were your opinions of the war when you left?
Well, I watched it, you know, when I was in the States. I was hoping we were going to win because we never lost the war. A lot of too many blunders, but we never lost the war. But I guess we made our own right. We had to win, we couldn't lose.
Did you leave at the end of the war or before the war ended?
What?
Did you leave at the end of the war or before the war ended?
Well, I think the war in Europe was just over when I got home. Roosevelt died, I think. Too bad he didn't live long enough to see the end. But yeah, I got in the Japanese. I think the Japanese war was still going on, but I got out just about that time the war was over. No, which I forget what day and month the war was over.
Did you learn anything from your time in the service that you were able to apply to your everyday life?
Well, one thing you learn, a little bit of respect and discipline. You told the mark, or you'll be in the Who Scout. Yeah, you have to be, that's what's the trouble today. The people, I always said, when you graduate from high school, you're 18 years old, you ought to put you in the service for 2 years. You wouldn't have all the trouble we got with kids today. That's my opinion. They'd have discipline and respect for everybody. But today, I don't know, they're in the service for 3-4 months and get a 30-day furlough. That's well.
Is that when you learned all your respect, you think?
I didn't get no furlough at all. I had convalescent furlough, that's it. I didn't have to go overseas if I didn't want to, but I did. I could have stayed stateside, but I didn't want to leave my crew. So I went anyway.
What did you do when you returned home?
Well, I worked on a farm for a while, then I went into the trucking business for a while, and then I started working for a private contractor, like building roads. I was an operator, like bulldozers and this and that, operator, front end loader. About 30 years I've done that. Then I retired at age 65.
Did your involvement in World War II affect your occupations after the war?
No. No, I talk about this war all the time because a lot of people, I know some guys won't say nothing about the World War because people got to know about the World War II. They don't even teach it in school, do they? Any amount. So they ask me, I tell them. I tell them straight out.
Did you become involved in any World War II organizations?
Just the American Legion, the Post 616, that's it. Well, when I come back from Panama, we landed in Tucson, Arizona, Davis Mountain Field. So one day there was over 100 of us. We went to the VFW in Tucson and we joined up. 1943. We joined up. I still got the card home, but I'm not paying no dues. But that's when we joined. A whole bunch of us joined. I belong to this post here over 55 years.
Have you attended any reunions?
Yeah, two of them. So most of the reunions are too far away. I went to Massachusetts and Niagara Falls.
Did you see anyone you knew?
No. No, I didn't see nobody new. Oh yeah, I did one. My waist gunner, I met him, but he died shortly after. I met two waist gunners, I met them. But they, next year or so they passed away.
Did you keep in touch with anyone from the war?
With my skipper and his wife till he died. And Jack Miller, he's in Tennessee, he died a couple of years ago. I used to call him up. He was the tail gunner. But the other guys, I didn't know where it was.
You mentioned on the paper that the skipper was one of the most memorable people you knew, and I was just wondering.
He was. He was before the war, he was a John Deere mechanic. But he was a pilot. We landed with that flat tire, the big tire on the left. We landed on this tire in the nose wheel, and we made a perfect landing. Most of these pilots, they don't know how to do that. They just go to spin and blow up. I'm right there with them.
Is that why you respected him so much? Is that why you respected him so
Oh,
much?
he's a good man.
How did the military change or influence your life?
Well, I said military, it was all right. I had no regrets. They teach you something. You have good food to eat while you're in the States. You know, overseas there, you had to do what you could do. You was in a rose garden, you know. Whatever you could steal, we stole a 30-gallon drum, made a furnace out of it, stove out of it, and we got some German gas that hooked up with a steel copper pipes of ours with a valve on it, and we had a fire. It heated our tent. It's cold.
Does the time you spent in the military often come up in your thoughts? Does the time you spent in the military often come up in your thoughts?
Oh yeah, yeah, I dream about it sometimes. About this and that. What I gotta say or something, like I was wondering what I'm gonna say here today. I dream all night.
Does it bring back good memories or
Oh
does,
no, that's all good memories. All good memories.
when do you think about it the most?
Well, I don't know, just everything in general. Sometimes I think about a flight I was in that we made it home, you know. Like at one time, the skipper said we're ready to bail out. I looked down there, and this wheel shot up pretty bad. And I looked down there and I said, we ain't gonna bail out here. It's all water down there. I guess it's only like 4 or 5 foot deep. But boy, I tell you, but we made it home anyway. Stuff like that.
Did you receive any medals for your service?
Well, then just in the middle, I got 14 air medals there and Presidential citation, whatever there is. And the state of New York gave me the medals for whatever the thing says there. I got that a couple years ago in Herkimer.
What do they represent?
Well, valor, valor and good, well, valor mostly in respect, or I guess, and you're doing your duty to the country.
And overall, what does the military mean to you, or your time in the service mean to you?
Well, we gotta have the military regardless. I like the military, and I like the Air Force. So we gotta have everything, because if we don't, they're gonna come over here and spank us. They're trying like crazy, but we can't let that happen.
I'm just trying to be a father, raise a daughter and a son, be a lover to their mother, everything to everyone.